Oh, I'm on. Woohoo! Whoa! Look at that! Woo! Oh, sugar. It's actually pulling line now. Beach fishing with soft plastics and natural baits. Hi, my name's Roger Osborne. In this video, I've found some absolutely cracking structure on one of my local beaches. It's really got my fishing juices going. I can hardly wait to get a line in the water. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to explain everything to you guys. The plastics I'm using, the jig heads, why I've chosen the colours, what my thoughts are, the baits I'm using. I'm going to give you all the information to help you replicate what I'm doing and enjoy your fishing. Stick around to the end for a free PDF download which will outline some vital keys from today's session. If you're enjoying these videos, remember subscribing's totally free and it really helps me to put content out, which I love doing. So make sure that you like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Let's get fishing. Now guys, remember, if you're wanting to check out a beach and look at the structure, it does help to have a little bit of elevation, like standing on a sand dune or something, which is what I did on this beach. You can still get a really good bird's eye view down at ground level, but getting that little bit of extra height helps. And also I recommend using Polaroid sunglasses because that just helps you to see the depth of the water. You know, you can see the little differences there when you've got the Polaroids on. So that's what I do. And oh, it just looks so good in this spot. And you know, I'm down on one of my local beaches in Ulladulla and I feel like I'm on a desert island. There's just nobody here. There's kilometres of sand. It's a wonderful afternoon for fishing and I'm almost all by myself. Anyways, I'm all rigged up and ready to go and I'm going to put a soft plastic on and just have a little play. I've probably got an hour and 3/4 before it gets dark. So I've got a good amount of time even before the sun sets. So I think I'll have a play with the plastics for a little while. And my plan is actually just to put a natural bait as a set bait out on my line and to fish with plastics and to prospect with the soft plastics over the next hour or two. And I fully expect the fish are going to come into this zone. It looks so good. Just quickly, if you're as passionate about fishing as I am and you really want to improve and enjoy it even more, why don't you join Roger's Fishing Online Fishing Club, my membership. I've got some amazing people who are members and we all share our information with each other. There's so much content on there. There's all my fishing courses, plus there's a heap of stuff that's not available on YouTube. And there's no lock-in contracts. You can leave anytime you want. So head on over to rogersfishing.com and check it out. Now right in front of me, you can see the waves are breaking out the back. There's a very defined sandbar and there's a beautiful trough right in front of it. And it actually comes into a bit of a pinch, into a point just here to my left. So this gutter goes on an angle and then it kind of widens out to my right, but it's almost like if there was some big fish like mulloway or different things, they could herd bait fish right up into this little corral on my left. It looks amazing. And the sandbar is actually pretty close to the shore, so it's very, very castable. So I'll be able to flick soft plastics right onto that sandbar and hop them over the edge. I'm going to have a wonderful time. And you know, I'm only using 10-pound braid, so if I hook anything big, I just hope I don't run out of line. Anyways, I want to get started. I've actually brought this super light rod down. I've only got I think it's 2,500 actually. It's a 2,500 size reel. It's only got 10-pound braid, but I've got a westerly wind and I don't mind fishing light because your castability is so much greater. I can just let that soft plastic fly, the wind will take it, and with this really thin line, it'll just end up in some great areas. And if I do hook a mulloway or something solid, I'm just going to have to enjoy the fight and tire it out slowly and get it in. So what I've done is I've started off with a 1/6 jig head. So I brought with me a variety of jig head sizes in hooks and weight. I think the heaviest jig head I've got with me is 3/4 of an ounce. This is a 1/6. I've got a quarter, I've got half ounce, I've got a few different ones and also ranging from 1/0 up to 5/0 size hooks. I've got a few different size plastics and different colours. So I'm just going to grab them out. I'm going to start small and I'm going to use a squidgy wriggler to start off with, 120 millimeters in the bloodworm colour, which is kind of a good brimmy type of colour, although salmon, flathead, other things would grab that as well. So I just chucked a bunch of soft plastic bags into my into my backpack. So I've got my little squidgy's wriggler here, the bloodworm, which has been a perennial favourite with fishermen for a very long time, that colour. Just going to put it onto the jig head. Got to give it a bit of a squeeze. So you can see there's plenty of barb sticking out of that plastic. It's positioned pretty well. So I'm just going to relax and enjoy this afternoon and start flicking this out into this beautiful spot. Be interesting to see. I mean, I would totally expect that a brim would love something like that, or maybe a salmon, but we'll just see if there's any fish out there. And, as I mentioned, 10-pound braid. I think my leader is only 12 pound. Okay. Wow, this wind is perfect. It's right at my back. And I just love this setup. It looks so good. It's so much fun when you are just keeping your eye on the beaches and they're always changing, and then you just see some things form which are really interesting and really fish friendly. There's quite a big wash actually on the shore, because from a surfing point of view, there's a nice offshore breeze and there's quite a few waves coming in. Let's just see how far this goes. I'm just going to give it a little flick. Woo! Okay, well, not too bad. I just feel short of the sandbar. I'm just going to give it a couple of little flicks. Fishing with soft plastics off the beach is very different to fishing in still water, because there's so much turbulence and movement on the beach, which I'll talk about in a minute a bit in more detail. I do want to make sure that this lure sinks down to the bottom. Just try and skip it over the bottom a bit. I think I might count how many casts I have to see how many casts it takes to actually hook a fish on a soft plastic on this occasion. It'll just be interesting to see how long it takes, and I'll tell you guys how many I've had when I hooked the first fish. You know, initially, I feel like I could go slightly heavier with the jig head. I think I'd like to be able to get a little bit further out than I am. I'm just doing some gentle lifts at the moment. Maybe a little bit of a flick and letting it sink down to the bottom. So I've only had 2 casts, but my initial evaluation is that the jig head probably needs to be just a little bit heavier. I'm getting reasonable distance, but I'm not landing on the edge of that sandbar where the white water is and where it's washing over the edge. I'd really like to get there. It's pretty close, but I'm going to have a couple more casts anyway, but then I think I'll trade up to a slightly heavier jig head. Keep walking, hopefully I don't disappear over the edge. Oh, I got one. I got a fish. Woo, what have I got here? Okay, we got a fish. Woohoo! Whoa! Look at that! Woo! Oh, sugar! It's actually pulling line now. What a classic! I'm gonna have to play it. Oh, awesome! It's heading up the beach. Whoa, look at that leap out of the water. That's quite a healthy salmon. Wow. So it has nailed this bloodworm wriggler. And I've got him on this little stick of a rod. I can't just winch him in like I've got a heavy outfit. Wow, this is fun. When he leapt out of the water, whoa, I saw another one. One of the other fish in the school leapt up with him. Now I'm going to need to use the wave to bring him up because this is such light tackle. I can't actually use the gear to drag him. I've actually got to use the water and the momentum of a bit of a surge to get him up. Now this fish is probably only 1.5 to 2 kilos in weight, but that's certainly enough wave. Hang on, there's a bit of a surge there. Maybe this wave might do it. Yeah, this wave should enable me to get him up. And I'm thinking, oh, wow. No, it's just too much pressure on the line. If I hook a Dewey, this is going to be epic. Oh, he's gone back out again. He's gone back out. Wait. Come on, mate. He's right near me. I can maybe get him with this next little wave. Maybe this one might do it. Yeah, this one's going to get him high enough up the beach so that I can potentially... Oh, sorry guys, I'm trying to get him in. But here we go. Here we go. That's it. That's the one. That is the one. Now, you can have a good look at this. This is quite a solid fish. There's a good look of that soft plastic in his mouth. Wow, that was an epic fight on this light outfit. And he's nailed that squidgy's wriggler. That was actually my 4th cast. So that's not too bad, hey? Only 4 casts and I've landed a fish. There'll obviously be more of these out there, but I'm hoping that maybe some Deweys sneak in here over the next hour or so. So I'll toss him back in the water. I think I need to put another wriggler on there because it's a little bit mangled. This guy would be, this guy would be about 55 centimetres. So just a really nice solid fish and probably at least 2 kilos. Or in the old scale 4.5 pounds in weight. Oh, he's gone up there. Off you go, mate. As I mentioned, I'm going to replace this plastic because it's been ripped up a bit and it's not sitting on the hook very well, so I'll just go and grab another one and whack it on, and I'm just tossing up. I still think I need to up my jig head size to slightly heavier, so I think I'll do that at the same time. So I've got this wriggler here and I've got the jig head. I'm going to put the hook in its nose, really. I want the hook to come out its back, so I'm squeezing. You've kind of got to just gauge it and judge, but I want the hook to come right out in the middle of its back. Then you squeeze it up like that, and you can see that that's actually really well positioned. You've got a nice amount of barb coming out of the top of the lure, and it's just sitting really nicely on that jig head. So I just caught that salmon, but I've upped the weight, not much. I've just gone from 1/6, which is not that heavy, pretty light for off the beach, to a 1/4 ounce jig head, which is approximately 7.5 grams. And I'm going to head back to the same spot and see what sort of action I can find. Hopefully it just helps my casting a little bit more difference, but that's all right. And the wind is blowing. The wind's not directly straight at my back at the moment. The wind is a little bit sideways from the southwest. So I think when I cast next time, I'm going to cast on a slight angle with the wind at my back. I'm just doing some gentle lifts at the moment and then letting it sink down, because you remember that that soft plastic has a wriggle tail, so you want it to sink and that tail to be wriggling as it sinks down. So you want to lift it off the deck and then let it wriggle back down to the bottom. And even just a slow wind is good. So I'm going to do that as my lure gets closer to the shore. Oh, is that a bite? What was that? Something happened. Felt like I had a bite then. I felt a knock, like a tap. Oh, got one. Okay, so I was just counting. This is my third cast after catching the salmon. It's a smaller fish. It might be a brim. I don't think it's a salmon. Or maybe it's a small salmon. Nowhere near as big as the last one. Oh, look at this. Oh, look, there's a beautiful little flathead. How's that? It's getting to that time of the year now when the flathead are coming around. Just going to gently drag him up. Now look at this guy. Wow, okay, well he's probably 40 centimetres, so he's a legal fish. So this is a sand flathead. It's approximately 40 centimetres long, and it's taken that squidgy wriggler. Beautiful little fish, super sweet to eat. And it was my 7th cast. So far, total 7 casts with a plastic, and I've landed 2 fish. Not a bad average to start off with. I've decided to upgrade my jig head size again. I've gone from a 1/4 ounce to a 1/2 ounce now. So I'm just tying on a 1/2 ounce jig head. It was just lacking a little bit of weight in casting. So I think this will be better, but I've also upped the size of the plastic. I had some of the squidgy wrigglers in bloodworm in 2 sizes. I had some 120mm ones and some 140s. So I'm using a bigger jig head with a bigger hook. So this is the same plastic, it's just a bigger one. And I've got a bigger jig head, heavier. So I'm going to put this guy on. And I still think the flathead, it's not too big for the flathead. They'll still take it if there's more flathead out there. But it's just going to give me my castability better. And obviously the salmon would like it. Probably not so much of a brim lure, it's a little bit too big, but I want to give that a go. I'm mindful though, I want to get some bait in the water so that I've got a set line. I'm going to toss the line out with some squid on it, and then I'm going to continue with the plastic. So I have a few casts now, then I'll get my bait line ready and put that out so that I can be there while I'm playing with the plastics. I expect that this is going to get me a fair bit better distance. Definitely a better weight. I definitely got further out that time. So it definitely made a difference with the distance. I was a little bit mindful of not putting too much effort into it, because this is a fairly light rod and it's probably above the recommended weight. So I just need to be gentle on it. So far I've just been doing a slow lift and just letting the tail work and sink to the bottom. And where I am positioned in this gutter, there's no drag. It's not going to the right or the left to any great degree. I landed on top of the sandbar then, or right on the edge of it. It'd be great to be able to hop that plastic off the sandbar into the edge of the deep water, so that if there's anything kind of lurking there. This is about cast number 11 in total. It's my 4th cast since I caught the flathead. 2 more casts and then I'm going to put some bait on. I like it when there's a little lull in between the waves because I can get a bit closer and get my plastic out a bit further. Oh, I'm on. Woo. Awesome. So this was cast 12. And this is not a flathead. This is turning out to be quite a productive little session on the plastics. I think this is another quality salmon, this one. Just following him up the beach. It's actually pretty close. There he goes. You may have watched my recent video on salmon sashimi. They really do make the best sashimi. Absolutely delicious. Whoa, look at this wave. I'm trying to avoid getting wet. Just being gentle with this rod. Oh, here he is. Okay, it's a similar size actually. Oh. You can see he's absolutely woofed that soft plastic. Almost swallowed the whole thing. How much fun is this? I'm planning on doing a bunch of videos on soft plastics off the beach. It's something I'm keen to do, and there's a lot of stuff that I want to teach on that subject. So if that's something that you're interested in, can you let me know in the comments if you want to know more about soft plastics off the beach and just the different, it's just totally different, as I mentioned, to still water, but can be amazingly productive. So I'm going to keep this one. I let the first one go. I've kept the flathead because we love eating flathead, and I'm going to keep this salmon as well. Now I was rock fishing for snapper, and my rod is still rigged up for snapper. I'm actually going to leave the same rig that I used off the rocks for the snapper just for time purposes. And you can see I've got all I've got is a single 4-0 hook to a really super short kind of paternoster leader. This is a running paternoster rig because you can see that my line goes through there like that. There's a swivel at the top of that line and it goes down to a 4-ounce snapper sinker on the bottom. But I'm going to put a bit of fresh squid on this and just whack it out because I want to get straight back out there with the plastics and it'll just be much more efficient. I'm not going to, it'll still work fine. This is a head of a squid that I caught recently. I think I'll just chop that candle off there. There's too much for one bait. I think I'm going to just thread a bunch of that onto that hook, put a half hitch around the top. I'll just cut that in half, I think, and use the top part of the candle. So this is just improvising a little bit. And all I'm going to do is thread this squid candle on a bit like a worm onto the hook. You can do that, it's nice and soft. And then I'm going to pull this up over the end of the hook, kind of like I do with a worm, and put a half hitch around the top to stop it from sliding down. But that'll be a lovely little morsel, look at that. And it'll be suspended off the bottom. There's not a lot of current just where I am out here, so That's why I'm not bothered using this shaped sinker, because if there was a strong current, I'd need to change it up and put a star sinker or something on there. But there's not a lot of water movement, so that's why I'm okay to leave it as it is. I'm going to whack this out and then get straight back onto that plastic. Just make sure I put this rod holder into the sand a fair way. I find by rocking it back and forth, it definitely helps you to get it in there better. And I want to have it on a slight angle. Alrighty. So I'm going to whack this out there in the zone. It could get nailed by a salmon or anything really. You can see how far up from the sinker my bait is. It's probably a good 70 centimetres. This would be an awesome snapper bait, just as it is. And you can cast quite a ways with it, or two. Beautiful. That landed right in the back of the gutter on the edge of the drop-off from that sandbar, so in a really good spot. We'll see whether that snapper sinker holds position, or if there's any problems with it. Alrighty. I'm going to have a couple more casts with this colour. Then I'm going to switch it up to a white soft plastic, because I know the Dewies love the white colour. A lot of guys have been catching good mulloway on the central coast of New South Wales using white paddle tails off the beach at night and at this time of the night as well. So I might switch it up in a minute, but I'll have a couple more casts with that one. Come on! Gee, that was first cast back in the water. I'm hooked up again. And this one's pulling quite a lot of line. Okay, so I've made no ground on him straight away. He actually just pulled a bit of line. And he's heading north. Wow. Woo! Yeah, he's pulling some serious line. This fish. So the salmon are obviously there in numbers. Oh, this is great. Something's chasing him. I just saw a huge swirl behind that salmon. Wow. Getting a lot closer to the shore now. He just fought really hard in the beginning. Got to keep my eye on my other line. Oh! The lure popped out of his mouth. Oh well, I'm happy to let him go, so that's cool. Got him to the shore. Everything looks good at this end. It must have just been hooked in the side, so I'll cast straight back out again. Right. I just like to let that plastic sink to the bottom and give it a bit of a gentle lift. Something was going on out there then. Oh, yeah, I got him. Whoa. Tell you what, I could feel a few whacks then. It'll be exciting when I hook a dewy in amongst these salmon. That'll be so exciting. Woo! I pulled a bit of line then. Whoa, big jump. This is certainly very exciting fishing. Well, got to keep following him north. I wonder if this guy's the biggest one. He certainly pulled the most line. Oh, there he goes. Maybe this next wave might do it. No, not quite. Come on, come with me. Come with me. Come with me. I think he's been tail wrapped, this fish. It's important at times like this to have your drag set right, so that if there's any pressure on the line, there's not too much pressure, some line's able to go out, because I've got the fish, plus I've got these waves sucking back with a lot of power. That's probably got him. Yeah, oh look, I've foul hooked him. Look at that. Sheesh. Oh, I've got to hold on to him tight because I don't want to get a hook impaled in my hand. It's going to bring him up and show you where he's hooked. You can see where he's hooked in the belly. That's why it was so hard to get him in. Well, he didn't suffer very much, so I'm going to let him go. And he's also ripped this plastic a bit, so I'm going to change over to the white one just to mix it up. Although this bloodworm colour so far has hooked 5 fish in a very short period of time. So there you go, that's a good colour for off the beach. It works well. It's hooked 4 salmon and a flathead in about a total of 15 casts altogether, which isn't much. Just waiting for a nice little flush of water. And I'll be able to just release him happily. There you go, mate. So I'm going to swap colours with the plastic and just check my set line, see if I've still got some bait on that other rod. My plan in this video was to fish with both the plastics and bait, but I've been having so much fun and excitement on the plastics, I just really haven't got to the bait side all that much, which is a good problem to have, isn't it, really? So I'm going to check my other line, make sure I've still got a good bait out there and continue to fish with the plastics because it's pretty good. all I've done now is change. I've kept the 5.0 jig head, the half-ounce jig head, and I've upped it to this paddle tail prawn, which is white. It's got some black eyes on it and a bit of red under the front. I think it's called drop bear, I'm not sure, but I'm going to toss that baby out now and see what happens. So it should be fun. Because this one has a paddle tail, a slow roll is a good option for the retrieve, which just is a gentle wind, letting that paddle tail beat. So I can do a gradual lift or I can do a slow roll. We'll see if the salmon like this colour. I thought I felt a couple of hits then, straight away. I'm on. Oh, has he got off? I think he got off. Yeah, I had him on, but he got off. So that was a hit on the white plastic. It's a little bit less barb sticking out on this plastic than the other one. But that was good to get a bite though. I'm going to let it sink, and then I'm just going to drag it to the side and slow roll it so that I can feel the soft plastic, the paddle tail working. I'm just going to pull it along, keep it moving, wind up the slack, give it a pull sideways like that. I just felt a whack. I think I'm getting close to shore now. I'm going to walk to the left. I've been casting the same spot. I'm just going to walk to the left a little bit. Just cast in a slightly different spot. Got one. Yeah, hooked him this time. What have I got? I was getting a few hits then on the way in. I could feel a few whacks, but it wasn't quite hooking up. So, although this one has hooked up. It's getting washed up with this wave, would you believe? All the way up to the top. Gee, that was an easy fight, wasn't it? It's another very solid salmon. I can hardly hold him with my hand. I'll try and get a grip. My hand's not big enough to get around him hardly. You can see that soft plastic, how he's woofed that thing. These salmon are really liking these plastics. I've got this white one, you can see he's nabbed it, and I think I'm going to keep this one as well. But I haven't, as I've mentioned a few times, haven't had a lot of casts, but I'm certainly getting plenty of hits. And it has made a difference upgrading to a slightly bigger, heavier jig head. I can get a little bit further out, it's a bit easier to cast. But I'm going to take this one up and look after him. My set line, which has had the squid candle on it, it's kind of lost half of the bait, so I'm just going to reload it with a bit more candle and toss it back out again. And I want to continue tossing those plastics until it gets dark, because that's one of the best times to catch a mulloway off the beach. And you know, you've got to be in it to win it. If you don't have a line in the water, it's never going to happen. So, you know, I'm not shy to get down here and have a go. So while I'm here, I've got to make the most of it. I might catch more salmon, but I might not. All right, well, I will chuck this out. Nice big squid bait. Gonna whack him back out there. I'm preferring to fish to the left of where this line is because as I move to the right, the current gets stronger. As this gutter funnels out to sea, it picks up a bit of speed, so I'd rather fish up in the corner where there's a lot less current. Certainly plenty of water depth, and I'm hoping that some other fish will end up in that gutter as it's getting dark. So it's going to wander up this way a little bit. I fished the bottom of the tide. Low tide was about an hour ago, so the tide's turned and it's becoming a lot more boisterous. The shore dump's pretty full on. I have had maybe 1 or 2 knocks in my last 10 casts. I'm just fishing this time because it's a good time to potentially catch a mulloway. Where I'm fishing is not a known mulloway beach, although they do come in here from time to time. But still, it's a great time of the night. The structure looks good, and you don't catch anything unless you've got a line in the water, so that's why I'm here. Just going to fish a couple more casts, but it's almost dark now. I've had an awesome session. It's actually turned into pretty much a soft plastics session mainly because it's just been pretty productive, a lot of fun and plenty of bites. So I'm going to have a couple more casts until I can't see properly. Well, I better check my bait because I've been so occupied with the plastics. I had a lovely squid bait on here, so we'll see if anything's taken it. Can I feel any weight on the end? That's the question. I can feel weight on the end of this line. There's no weed on the beach. Hang on, can I still feel weight? Yeah. I think there's something on here. It's gone down the beach to see what it is. So it's taken that squid bait. Yeah, I can feel it. It's actually coming to my left. It was right down the beach, but now it's swimming to the left. This is a much heavier outfit than my other rod. I've actually got 40-pound mono on this line. So it's a really solid outfit. It's easy to pull a fish in. Well, here we go. I have landed a fish on the squid. Another salmon of similar size to the other ones. Took that lovely squid bait. So I've landed a fish on the bait. Yay! 1 salmon on bait, about 6 on the plastics and a flathead. So this is another really fat one. These guys are hard. It's hard to grab them with one hand. You can't really fit one hand around them. If you'd like a free PDF download of some vital keys from today's session, hit the link in the corner or in the description below. Well, this has been a super fun session. I totally got distracted with the soft plastics because it was just all happening, heaps of bites, really exciting, and I really neglected the bait side of things. I did end up landing 1 salmon on bait. Probably would have caught more if I had spent some time in that way, but gosh, the plastics are so much fun. I really do enjoy fishing with plastics. I love fishing in the estuaries, in the rivers with the plastics for flathead and brim and mulloway and various species. So much fun. Anyway, guys, I'll be coming back soon with another video, and I will be doing more videos with soft plastics both off the beach and in the lake. I look forward to seeing you soon in another video.